Hello, we are Geeks Assembled, and we have gathered here again today. And as it's still the month of Halloween, we are going to be talking about The Village of the Damned. Now, this is the 1960s version, not any other version. So let's kick straight off. Let's go with Brian for opening thoughts, because I always like to pick on Brian a bit first tonight.
Me?
Yeah, you're the sensible one in the cast at the end of the day. So I think, you're the voice of truth.
All right.
Yeah, opening thoughts, please, Brian.
I mean, I am the voice of truth, I would believe. I mean, I think we would agree on that.
Yep, if anybody would like to go and get a cup of tea or something like that, because we could be here for a while. Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, so Village of the Damned. What I thought of this movie is I liked it. I really enjoyed and liked this film. Because I've only seen the remake before this one. I didn't even know that the one with Christopher Lee was a remake. I thought it was just like the original. I didn't even know there was one beforehand, and this one that we're reviewing it is the original. I didn't even know that, but I did enjoy it. The both of them are good in their own way, at least in my opinion. I don't know on you guys, but I did enjoy. I do enjoy both of them in their own way. They have their own sense of brand, I would say, within brand and feel to within the movies. And both of them are enjoyable to watch.
Are they both quite different, are they? Because I haven't watched the 95 version.
They are very quite different. A few similar things within the remake, but not too many. Just
Is it more of a horror? Is it more of a
little bit, yeah. But yeah, I love both of them either way. They both are quite good, enjoyable, and decent films. I would say maybe it's just my take on liking John Carpenter's films, because I think he's like one of the best directors. But I think I like the remake a little bit more. But otherwise, I do enjoy the original. It's a very good film. I love it.
Have you injured yourself, Brian?
What?
Have you injured? You got a big plaster on your arm.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you about that later. Just go
All
on.
right. All right. And let's go to Alex and Susan for just opening thoughts on what they thought of Village of the Damned.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the classic stories. It's again, somehow keeps coming up, this John Wyndham with Wyndham with Day of the Triffids and this. And of course, we're not talking about the sequel yet. The reboot, yeah, it was okay, but it wasn't as good as the original. The original is scarier. The original is creepier. The kids are very creepy. They sort of help start a phase with the eyes and the silver-colored hair, maybe, and at least at that age, the different colored hair, and it is creepy and it is scary. And again, you have, just like a horror movie with the body horror and the taking something that's usually considered sweet and innocent and twisting it on the side there. What's going on, Beef Dad? So, trying to scare me here with his look. All right,
he does it to everybody. Don't worry, you're not the only one, Alex.
Okay, my take is very similar. I thought that the kids were incredibly creepy You better tilt that back up. I thought that it was really scary what the kids were trying to do, and it was incredibly bizarre. The whole community fell into sort of disarray because of it. Anyway, that's my take on the subject, and I'll talk more about social distortion at a later moment in this cast.
And a brilliant segue from total distortion to Lee from Hull.
What do you want to know, Lid?
What do you make of this film, Lee? What do you make of it? I'm sure you've seen it many times.
Yeah, I haven't seen it for a few years. I rewatched it the other day. It's, as Alex said, it's one of these classic 1960s black and white movies. It's, for me personally, I think this is far better made and story told better than the reboot what was done. I don't really go there with that one. I think I mentioned earlier on that it's sort of got a feel of a Doctor Who, classic Doctor Who to it. You know, the village, like I can't remember what story was it. The demon entrapped village, they couldn't get in and stuff like that, and it had that sort of feel to it. And then when the kids were born, with all the blonde hair and those glowing eyes. But the one what sort of creeped me out most, was it the lead kid? Is it David?
Yeah.
The way he talks such perfect English, that just sort of creeped me out. You know, proper English.
That creeped me out the most, actually. That is what, more than the eyes or anything else or the stares, that's what creeped me out the most.
Yeah. It was that sort of got me. I like this. I mean, you've got Barbara Shelley in this. I mean, she's well known for these sort of movies. And George Sanders, brilliant actor. Brian will know him better for being the first Mr. Freeze from the Batman series, of course. And, the voice of J.K. in the Walter Jungle Book. But, George Sanders, he was a leading man of his day. And this was it was a hit, but nobody knew it was going to be a hit at the time. And now it's become a cult status movie, and you can see why. It's just British cult movie and all of it, and I loved it. I mean, it's only 74 minutes long, so it flies by this. I liked it. It made my day to sit down and watch this one again. So yeah, that's my opening thoughts for this one, Alan.
Yeah, I could see this fitting in with a John Pertwee story, really. It is that kind of feel to it, isn't it? And especially, with the army, you feel like, well, they could be a unit, couldn't they, really? You see some similarities. Let's go to Stephen Price in Wales.
Yeah, I enjoyed this movie. I haven't seen it since the early 1980s. What I liked about the film, I liked the child's eyes where they were all staring and that. I liked the village where all the people were, just fainting off. Very good movie. I seen the remake, didn't like the remake at all. I liked the end part where he was trying to think of a brick wall all the time, and then the old building just blows up. Excellent film.
Yep, and let's go over to Germany with Beef Dad. What are your opening thoughts, Beef Dad?
This holds a very special place in my heart, this film. I read the book when I was 11 and loved it. And of course, when they made the film, I wanted to go and see it. And of course, it came out in 1960, so I was only 12. So I had to sneak in and I sneaked in through the side fire door of the cinema and watched the film. The only time I've ever done that. But I absolutely loved it. I love the film. It was just, it is so close to the book. It's incredible. And of course, the other thing about this film is it was originally going to be made in America. That was the original idea. That was what they originally decided. But then Hollywood decided that they didn't want to do it. They changed their minds, and so it was made in England. Well, which is where it was set anyway. But yeah, it was made in England. So I mean, it's only coincidence that it ended up being a British cult movie, because it only happened because Hollywood decided that they possibly couldn't handle making this. Yeah, there's some super. Well, all the children, all the alien children, basically, they are all, the performances from all of them are absolutely brilliant. The control is just incredible. You don't get smirks or anything like that unless they're supposed to, and they're concentrated and focused all the time. The children are absolutely amazing. And yes, David, played by Martin Stevens, there's a name you can play with. Martin Stevens is just absolutely brilliant, superbly and absolutely unbelievably. Yeah, Bernard Archer as the vicar. You know, you just want to smack him. You really do. And of course, he did Doctor Who. Peter Vaughan, who played the police constable, who right at the very beginning hits the limit of the whatever it is that's enclosing the village,
Yeah,
and falls off of his bike. And of course, he did Doctor Who. Yeah, it is just an extraordinary cast. And it's just brilliantly done. It's superbly directed. And as you said, the thing that always stuck in my mind was the brick wall. And I remember reading it in the book and thinking, how are they going to do that in a film?
Hmm.
And they did. And they did it brilliantly.
Yeah, I think Beef Dad summed it up rather well, actually. I mean, the child actors, like Beef Dad said, were great. To keep those straight faces and to keep staring and to keep, you know, I just thought the child actors were great, but the acting as a whole from everyone was great. I mean, I've not seen this before. I've heard of it, but I've not seen any other versions. I don't know if there's any sequels or anything like that. I didn't even know it was based on a book. I've just watched it today, and I thought, yeah, I quite enjoyed it. I did quite enjoy it. I think it's a good story, and I thought it ended well as well. Had a good ending, which is very important.
Well, Alid, I'm glad you took my advice. Well, I twisted your arm and you watched it.
Oh, I know, that's what the story is.
I know, because you wasn't good.
By any chance, have you twisted Brian's arm as well?
I've paid you money.
Peter Vaughan, Beef Dad mentioned, became famous as Grouty in Porridge.
Oh, really? Oh, that's good. But I think it's good that it's in black and white as well. It being in black and white is really important, because I think always black and white is far more creepier. Because this isn't blood, even though it's Halloween and we associate Halloween with blood and gore and things like that. This is psychological and things like that, and the child's controlling things and making people do things, and you know, so it's not gory in any possible sense. But yeah, it's really effective, and it's really good, and it benefits from being in black and white. So I can't imagine the 1995 version being as good as this. No. Does anybody have any favourite moments? Any moments?
Yes,
any moments? Yep.
yes, I do. The puzzle box with
Oh yes.
the chocolate in it.
Yep. That's a good moment.
I just like the way that the village just stops. Everything, everybody just falls down. There's water running in the sink. There's someone ironing and nearly burning the house down, sort of thing, and people are just laid about in the street. But we don't really find out what really happened.
No, that is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
It's these women were impregnated by this invisible force, and that's a good scene as well when they're all finding out they're all pregnant. The doctor's got a bit of on his hand there, and as well the doctor as well. Nearly every scene, he's got a cigarette in his mouth. There's even in his
times, when it was healthy for you,
healthy to smoke. Then, yeah. But actually, it's a brilliant. As you say, the brick wall at the end, where he's trying to block their minds out of his mind, and at the last they break through and they look at his briefcase on the desk.
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, brilliant movie. As you say, it's not gory. And it does work better in black and white.
Yeah, I totally agree. Beef Dad, any favourite moments? Or Brian?
I got one.
Yep.
Ah.
Okay. Oh wait there, Beef Dad. Let Beef Dad go first, and then Susan.
The moment in the classroom where the aeroplane goes above and all the children's attention is suddenly turned to this aeroplane, and George Sanders says to the children, can you actually reach that? And David said, at the moment, no, it's too far away, but we will be able to eventually. And that just, I thought to myself, because imagine the destruction that they could cause. That moment always sends shudders up and down my spine.
And it's the way he said it as well. That the child is creepy. The voice and everything, and the way he just stares, and
he's cold and emotionless. Is brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So my favorite scene was of the airplane in the sky, falling out of the sky.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it was like the inferno barrier of heat barrier or whatever. It was like a lot of the supernatural science fiction, and that's why they chose the name Village of the Damned. So that was interesting, and there was always the there was the sense that these kids, that these powers could destroy society from within and from without. I mean, it would be like the distortion of all the social orders was imminent. I mean, like that was their their power and their social change, and it destroyed this village, and it destroyed so many lives. It was just amazing. So yeah, that's my bit. My favorite bit was the bit in the airplane on the other side of that whole thing.
Yep. Alex, have you got any favorite moments, favorite scene?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I do like the two movies, the original here and the sequel that we haven't talked about yet. But yeah, I mean, that's the good thing, that's why horror is so big, because if you could take plants and children, which is considered natural and usually sweet and good and benign, and just kind of cross it over into the into the devil land, if you can,
Some children are already there.
yeah. So if you could, Willy Wonka notwithstanding, if you can, have children and teenagers that can through mind control make you crash your car or shoot yourself or things like, or they make you actually, I mean, there's a scene in the movie where the brother shoots himself and they make the adults turn away. I mean, that's very creepy. That's very scary thought, actually.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some creepy and dark moments in this. Definitely, it's not gory, but there's definitely some creepy moments in it. Brian, have you got any favourite moments? A particular scene that stands out?
Favorite moments for me?
Yeah.
I guess favorite moments for I think favorite moments for me would probably be when I guess when but that creepy moment when there were a few quite creepy moments I thought in my opinion. The first one was when David made what's her name burn her hand within the pot at the beginning, and the other one was when when someone almost hit one of the kids and they made him go back in the car and hit the wall.
Yeah, that's why Alex just mentioned that a moment ago. Yeah.
And another one was when a whole riot tries to go get the kids within the house and burn down the house. The head leader, which is David, comes outside and just pulls a whammy on him and when one of the riot people burns himself alive, and that is just scary in itself. And because it's not like when he burns himself alive, he doesn't go all. Ah! It's just
I thought you got possessed then.
It's not like he's not screaming.
That was one of Brian's ghoulies, I think.
He's not screaming out of pain or anything, and he's just the kids are forcing him to actually burn himself alive, and that was just creepy.
Yeah, so who here has seen, because Alex and Brian have mentioned the reboot or whatever it is, who has seen that?
I have.
So is it a lot different, Brian, or is it?
A little different. Here,
Yeah.
like I said, here and there were bits that are similar, then there are bits that are not similar.
Is it more gore? Is there actually blood in it, in that one?
Not really, no.
Oh, well, that's something, because usually they shove blood in everything.
I mean, well, the sequel was scary in another way. I mean, I haven't received, so I can't say shot for shot. Go ahead, Brian.
No, there's a reboot. So wait there. There's a 1995 reboot, and there's a sequel.
Yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, Alex.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, there is a sequel called Children of the Damned.
Oh, so is that it is?
I mean,
so what happens in that then?
It's a sequel.
Yeah. Is it any good? No.
No, I think it's good.
Basically, in the sequel, they gather children like this from all over the world, and they put them in this church, this sort of abandoned church in London, and they try because they want to study them all together, because they've been contacting each other around the world, and they construct a weapon, a sonic weapon, in there. and kill people. And so they say, well, perhaps this is not a good idea. Send them all back to their appropriate embassies. So they send all the kids back to the appropriate embassies, where they kill off half the embassy staff, and then they all go back to the church to be together again.
I mean, they made the '95 remake, the John Carpenter version. It's not a it's because this one, the 1960s one, it's like a horror. It's a horror sci-fi. They made it, the '95 remake. It's also a thriller as well as horror and sci-fi. And
but also it's in colour, and as you say.
Yes, I can't imagine this in colour. I can't imagine this working that well in colour.
And they made. They changed the ending too, a bit.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, changing the ending is kind of sad, and then the fact that it seems like it was almost. Well, actually, I know some people that saw the reboot and said it was or the remake, and it was too politically correct. So then you take out some of the horror, and then you have to change it, and the only other thing that was memorable, except for Christopher Reeve, Mark Hamill, and Kirstie Alley being in it, was they showed more shock of what the kids were doing, but they didn't seem to have any guts to change anything or do anything. And I mean, if the kids are killing people or ordering people around, that might work in a Twilight Zone episode, but I don't know if it's going to work in a TV movie. And it's okay if one person does it, that they're afraid of, doing something violent to a child or whatever. But it doesn't work as a TV movie necessarily. So it's kind of, I think they tried to do that with the Stepford kids as well, and they had to, there was a lot of arguments about how that was filmed. But again, that's a sequel within a sequel based on the Stepford Wives, and it's not as good as the original. So same story.
I mean,
something I want to bring up in the first movie.
Yeah.
The mother of the child said she's only 1 year old. I mean, did you see the amount of hair she had? God, for a 1 year old. You got more hair than I got.
I mean, the thing within the remake, one of the things that I think to be amazing within the remake is that the scene like with Christopher Reeve at the end, like how in the original he has the suitcase and with the bomb in it, and before it actually goes off, he makes this incredible speech about like humanity and everything, and I just thought that was good. And while they torture him to see like what was through the brick wall within his mind, you could see the torture and expressions within on his body and his face and everything. And I thought that was a bit different and cool and everything. So
Christopher Reeve done, was in the remake. He done another remake of a classic. Perhaps Lee can help me with this. He's in a block.
Was it War of the Worlds?
No, it was he sees a murder across the apartments across from him.
A murder what?
There was a murder across. He sees a murder being
done. Rear Window.
Rear Window, yeah. You don't have to know.
See, Lee knows all these movie stuff.
Last movie, I think.
Yeah, that was the one. But by that point, Christopher Lee was in the wheelchair after his accident at that point.
So does anybody else have anything to add on this film then? Any tidbits or any information?
I've mentioned that, Joe Sanders played Mr. Freeze, blah, blah, and all that, but I'm quite surprised that there were books around when Beef Dad was 11.
You thought they were just written on stones? on carvings.
He knows I'm only joking, or am I?
I don't know. I did think when he said when he was 11, this came out when he was 11. I thought,
He's
Yeah, of
doing
course.
the thing. He's doing the thing.
See, no, Beef Dad could have been one of the children.
Well, he's got the hair.
It's all real. He's going to control us all now. Oh no, let's not go there.
How do you know he's not one?
That's what you said.
Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I've heard
It could be one.
Yeah. I've heard he's
Apparently,
one.
they're going to ask at the doctors now. Lee, that was very effeminate. Oh dear. Anyway, anything else to add on this film before we go insane?
Yes, there is two other major points.
Yep.
I've been to Yorkshire and I remember post offices like that in villages, but you don't see anymore. And you don't see policemen anyway, on a push bike anymore.
Yeah, I thought it was great seeing the old post office and the shops and that. Yeah, because they don't exist anymore like that. Anyway, so if no one's got anything else to add, we will go to final thoughts and score. Let's start off with, let's go to Lee first, actually. Usually I end with Lee, but we're going to start off with him first.
It's a wonderful little film. Some people, have never seen this, and I'll say to them, go out, sit down and watch it, like I did to Alid today, because he was refusing to watch it. He was kicking and screaming. I says, Alid, it's only 12 rated. You can watch it. But it's a good movie. I'm giving it a 10. I just love this one.
A 10, and yes, you see, I'm 18. You see, that's what it is, and I'm very easy. Let's go to Germany with Beef Dad. Final say in the score. I think I know where this is going, though.
Of course you do. It's going over there.
It's gone.
It's a brilliant film.
Oh, it's coming back.
From a brilliant book, with a brilliant cast. And it gets a 12.
Well, I'm sorry you didn't like it. Let's move on to Susan and Alex. Hopefully, are you going to go higher or lower than a 12? Or freeze?
Well, I will give it I'll give it an 8.5 out of 10 because, or 8.5 out of 12 because it was a rich tapestry. It wasn't really my favorite horror flick of all time, but it was pretty dang creepy. But it was an enjoyable movie. So thanks for setting this up. Everybody who voted for this on the poll, this was a good one.
Yep, and remember to vote on the poll. It's on the Facebook page, the Geeks Assembled Facebook page.
Yeah, that's why I like it, and also I mentioned Day of the Triffids, which he also wrote, and there's also been many different versions of that. And it's a good plot, simple plot. It takes the supposed nice and benign things and turns them evil. If you can get plants and children to turn evil, that's very creepy if you think about it. So as far as the movie, I like the sequel better, but I like both movies, so I'd say I'd give it at least a 9.
Oh, that's high from Alex. Let's go to Stephen Price. Final say and score.
Yeah, classic film. Loved it in black and white. Great acting by the children in it. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. And let's go to finally, before me, to Brian. What are you going to give this film, Brian?
Me?
Yep, you're the only Brian here, thank God.
Okay. Well, let's see. Well, I'm gonna give it a jump, Dean. Probably
Thank you
I'll
for that,
give
Brian. And now it's my turn. No, go ahead.
I'll probably give this a 1.
A 1. Well, that is actually higher than that. That's what you gave Monty Python.
I know. I just want
Oh,
to.
you wait there. You wait there. I've got to give you a rollicking for that now.
No, honestly, I did enjoy this film. So I would probably give this. I would probably give this film like maybe like around an 8.
That's fair enough. Yeah, an 8's a good score. Yeah, you're gonna give it an 8. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I say again.
I said, who's next?
Me. I'm actually. I think I'm going to give it an 8 as well. I'm going to give it an 8 because I thought it was a very, very good film, and I enjoyed it. Like Lee says, it's not too long. It only comes to about an hour and 15 minutes or something like that. It has a good ending, which is really important because so many films have bad endings. But the cast were great. The story was interesting because I'd never seen it before. So I thought, what on earth is going on? Why are these people fainted? And then they're waking up, the women are waking up with babies and stuff like that. So yes, I enjoyed it. I'll give it an 8. And that leaves me to thank everybody here, including Brian. Not Lee, though. Not Lee. And I'd like to thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date and informed with all the videos that we upload, because we upload quite regularly. Check out our Facebook page where you can vote what we review. Isn't that the case, Lee? Isn't that right? You can vote what we review.
Yes, Alid, that is correct. Is that the right answer?
Yes. Keep going.
Oh, okay.
Keep going. Yes, explain.
Oh, yes, Alid. Yes, we do a weekly poll of about 70 movies from each decade. This week we're doing the 90s poll, and then following that, what week we'll be doing the 21st century movie poll. So that's how it works. And the one what wins is the ones what we will discuss a few weeks afterwards. That's how it works. Simples, really.
I think you need a software update.
I need a what?
A software update.
Why is that?
Well, you're a bit robotic.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
Do I need oiling?
Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Look after yourself. Take care, and we will see you next time. I don't know what's going on. Cut.